Good afternoon, and welcome to Straight Talking with Kelly, where real conversations happen. This is where you will meet some of the most intelligent, creative, and talented people who come to share resources and knowledge on various topics. Today, I have with me Dontaye Ball, who is a chef that's going to talk about the mission of Gumbo Social and the opening of his new restaurant. I can't wait for you to find out a little bit more about him. Welcome, Chef.
Thank you.
So before we get started, I'd like to read you a little bit about Chef's background. And I call him Chef, but his name is Dontaye Ball. So Dontaye Ball, also known as Mr. Gumbo, is the chef owner of Gumbo Social, a San Francisco-based pop-up restaurant specializing in gumbo and soul food since 2018. After earning his Culinary Arts degree from San Francisco City College and completing his internship at Delfina Restaurant, Chef Ball believes that gumbo is the most important food in American culture. When Mr. Gumbo isn't cooking his award-winning gumbo, he raises his teenage twin sons. In addition, he serves as the VP of the Bayview Merchants Association and as a delegate for the Bayview Council of District Merchants Association in San Francisco. Busy guy, isn't he? Very committed to the community as well. So, Chef, welcome.
Thank you.
So, before we find out the mission of your Gumbo Social, I'd like to walk down memory lane with you. I happened to stumble upon you when I was visiting the farmers market in the Sunset area, where you guys are doing all kinds of big things out there. And I saw this massive line of people. And this was my first time actually going there with my husband. And I'm like, well, what's this line about? And then I saw where people walking around with your sweatshirt on that says eat more gumbo. And I said, oh, this is a gumbo line. Let me get in it. So we got in that line. And as I get closer, I start talking to you. And, I introduced myself. And you actually knew who I was. And that blew me out the water because I'm like, okay, why does this guy know me? Do you remember that?
Absolutely. I could remember, your program for youth that you ran back in the day. And I used to work for the Boys and Girls Club, San Francisco, Willie Mae's Boys and Girls Club. And I modeled some of my culinary educational curriculum after your program.
Aww.
And it had always, the work that you've done left a lasting impression on me in regards to how to cultivate, how to mentor, how to bring young people to hospitality and show them the opportunities that hospitality provides for gainful employment.
Aww.
So I was always really impressed on that side.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, so that program was called Primed and Prepped, a hospitality management job training program that's over at the Bayview Y. And it was one of my heart programs that I actually call a gift to the community. And that's exactly what it's meant to be. It's definitely a gift. I had no intentions of being there forever. I had a 5-year plan, got it up and running, and then I said goodbye. And so the program is still going, and I hope it's going well. And I'm glad that you got something out of it. I really appreciated that. But anyway, so as I stood in that line talking to you, couldn't wait to get my gumbo. And when I got the gumbo, I was like, oh no, I gotta come back. So my husband and I would come back periodically to get the gumbo. And then running into you recently at what was that event that I just saw you at over in the Bayview on a Saturday?
That was the Black History event in the Bayview called What's Cooking. That was the first iteration of that event. It was kind of a spinoff from the Sam Jordan's block party that happened the prior year. And so the goal and idea was for this to be a tasting small bite event to be able to expose the community to a multitude of different vendors at an affordable level. The city and county, the Dream Keepers initiative put kind of the money to kind of make that happen. But that was the event that I saw you at last.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I brought gumbo home for my husband, and he was so grateful when I walked in. He goes, "What's that?" I said, "Gumbo." He said, "Oh, I'm so glad you brought this." And anyways, it was just a wonderful event, and Rochelle Frazier and Jackie, we all enjoyed having it. So Dante, let's get started with you. I'd like to know some of your background. So where were you born and raised, and name some of the schools that you attended?
Yeah, I'm born and raised in San Francisco. Started kind of my family's from the Fillmore, and I started elementary at what was once Hawthorne's, now Cesar Chavez. I spent a little bit of time in the Mission, and then Luther Burbank Middle School, which is no longer there. I think it's like June Jordan or something like that now.
Okay.
And interesting enough, all of the schools I went to, either the names are changed or they're not there anymore.
Wow.
So Luther Burbank for middle school, and that's actually was my first little taste of kind of knowing I wanted to do some cooking. There was uh, when I was in the seventh grade, there was a class, a home economics class.
Ah, remember those days.
Yeah, and I don't think young people don't know what that is today
No.
because it doesn't really exist, which is
No.
unfortunate.
Yes, indeed.
Um, so the cool thing about home economics is, in order to start the cooking process, you had to make an apron. So I had to learn how to sew.
That's wonderful. That is such,
Right.
man. Do you still sew by any chance?
I don't, but my mom and my grandmother who passed last year, they were phenomenal sewers.
Okay.
They,
Okay.
my grandmother made her own clothes and stuff like that. My mom was really good at it as well. I remember her having a sewing machine and patterns and all that
Yes.
good stuff.
Yes.
So she's a great woman. But that was my first taste of hospitality.
Okay.
And for high school, I went to McAteer, which is now SOTA, School of the Arts.
School of the Arts.
And so when I was in high school, I kind of already knew I wanted to go in hospitality, wanted to be a chef, but didn't necessarily, there wasn't a lot of um, pathways, right? The internet was the internet. It was still pretty new. We, just kind of getting emails. You didn't really have emails on your phone yet. We didn't have smartphones. And so programs existed, but they were connection pieces. So you had to know a person that knew a person that hopefully I seen a flyer about something. You gotta
Yes.
hope
Yeah.
that they're near a phone. Right? You remember those days?
Oh, yes. The phone booths even.
Yeah, there was still phone booths. There was no texting really.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
think Nokia phones, and so Jody Tappas was one of my mentors in high school. She found this ROP class, which means a regional occupational program, and it was an ESL cooking class. And she's like, "I got good news and I got bad news. The good news is I found a cooking program. The bad news is it's ESL. None of these people speak English, and I have no idea what's going to happen in this class." And I took a leap of faith, and the chef was Mr. Ramos, who became a mentor in my life. And I took that class and excelled.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That is beautiful. And you're right. During those time, there was no such thing, at least we didn't know about mentors. We didn't know about having connections and how important they were. So you were lucky that you did stumble upon someone. Tell me, so what was the ESL program? Was it difficult to be in that class with students that didn't speak English? How did you maneuver that?
Yeah. So I was in the ESL class for adults. So I was the only teenager there.
Okay.
And in theory, I wasn't really supposed to be there. But, through the grace of God and people who liked me or my personality or whatever, I was afforded an opportunity to go to that class. And so it was a little difficult. I would say the thing that I learned, and I didn't know I was learning it then, was that this place that we're from is a diverse place.
Yes.
And what it taught me is how to negotiate space, um, feelings, emotions, language with other people that may not fully understand the language or fully understand your intention.
Mm-hmm.
And just imagine that with the idea of an immature 16-year-old.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I learned a lot. I made, those are the times, and I always tell people, like, we have to let the young people make mistakes. Like, these are the times, like when you're 16, 17, 18, this is when you should be making mistakes so you can learn from those mistakes. This is like the cultivation point of becoming a good human being, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah.
So I was afforded to make some mistakes, right? To become the person I am today, I think.
And so you ended up at City College in their culinary program. Now, I don't know if you know this, but I'm an instructor at City College. I teach in the fashion department, and I have for 22 years now. But when I was doing the Prime and Prep program, I also partnered with the culinary program at City College with Chef Ng and some of the rest of those guys.
Yeah.
So tell me what that experience was like.
Shout out to Ron Ng, a
Yes,
legend.
that's my guy.
Night Lab.
Yes. Okay.
That program, when I showed up there, I graduated high school in 2001. City College to me is one of the greatest gifts to our society. In my opinion, I wasn't a great student. And when I say that, in my household, academics wasn't something that was I wouldn't say it wasn't pressed upon, right?
Okay.
My mother, her primary goal was to make sure we had lights, food, and clothes.
Indeed.
Right. She obviously, hey, you need to go to school, but like it's a little difficult for someone to superwoman, right? Yeah, how could she take care of everything? And so the academics, I fell short in the academics level, and I needed I can remember going to CCA, the California Culinary Academy, doing their orientation. You go there, used to be on Polk Street, this beautiful old building, great kitchen, so much history. And I walk in, I was like, oh my God, this is where I want to be. And I did the tour with the ESL class I was with. And then we came back and I did a tour with my mom. And I can remember us sitting down and them like saying, okay, well, it's going to be about 75K. My mom looks at the recruitment officer. She looks at me, closes the manila folder and slides it back to him, and is like, thank you, but no thank you. I'm like, Mom, like, this is where I want to go. She's like, I'm not going to be rude to you guys, but my son's going to go to City College for free. Mm-hmm. He's going to have a better education. And she was 100% right. One of the best decisions that she made for me.
Yeah, because their culinary program is outstanding.
Yeah, one of few that are left in this country, which is very unfortunate. COVID kind of put a nail in a lot of the great culinary programs in this country. But City College is, San Francisco, world renowned, in my opinion. And so I needed what I knew is that if I was going to be a good chef, and I always had a passion for business, I needed some additional educational components.
Mm-hmm.
And so, when I got there, I placed high in math. I'm good at math, but I was terrible in English, right? And I'm not a good writer. And so I had to get intentional on about school. Like, I had to get mature fast. And so I didn't start the culinary program until my second year at City College. And at that point, when you went into the program, you had to interview. So it was a panel of people. You interviewed, you had to prepare a resume, and it was serious business.
Yeah.
And that always left an impression on me when I went into the program, knowing that this was something serious. It wasn't something to be played with. Like, this is an opportunity because everyone didn't get picked back then.
Mhm.
Because there are people that, they're only taking 30 students in the night lab. They're only taking 60 students in morning lab.
Yeah.
So it was competitive.
Yeah.
And I was afforded an opportunity to get in, and I fortunately got in and excelled through that program. Was able to graduate the Culinary Arts program, hospitality management, and also graduate with an AA as well. So I pushed through. A lot of my friends, a lot of the people I went to school with, they second career. So I was always, throughout high school and in college, I'm always kind of the youngest person going to school with adults or people on their second career. And so that also added to some of the diversity and some of the life lessons of, you're dealing with people that are a lot older. So, things are going to get serious a little faster,
Yeah. And so they were actually mentors to you without you really knowing it, because you're watching them.
Right.
And learning
Absolutely.
from them. So it was just a beautiful thing. So now, where were some of the places that you worked after you graduated?
Yeah. So I did Delphina for my externship. I worked there. And then I left. I went to France for 3 months.
Oh, wow.
We did Champagne. What did we do? We did Epernay, Dijon, Lyon, Avignon, Alsace, Beaune. There's a Vienne. There's another place in there somewhere, but I don't remember. So we traveled through France. That was great, eating our way through France. And then came back, had opportunity. I was working at the Presidio golf course for a while, helping with their kind of catering program, which was a great opportunity. And then when I came back to the States, I had an opportunity to help open the first Delphina Pizzeria. And so I worked there for like a year and a half, and then moved back to Delphina, the restaurant where I was actually working, which was, it's a different ballgame when you're the intern, right? You got a little bit more grace.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
When you start getting paid, it's a different ballgame.
Oh, yeah, they want more from you.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm sorry, go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I said it was a great opportunity to be able to be kind of raised up in a certain kind of business culture or culture of the company. And then, it was a great transition, I think.
Okay. Now, which is actually very interesting that you said the transition, because you have definitely transitioned. So you have been featured in Forbes, the San Francisco Chronicle, on the Kelly Clarkson Show, all because of your delicious gumbo. Why gumbo?
I always tell people, or I say back, my answer to that is, why not? Why aren't we talking about gumbo more? In my opinion, gumbo should be, and I hope, my goal is to achieve this mission. Gumbo should be America's national dish. Why not? So, it's got everything you need in it.
So, okay, so the national dish,
Yeah.
American national dish.
Mm-hmm.
Why? And I know you say why not, but what's in it that makes you feel that this should be America's national dish?
Well, the first thing I'll say is, if we look at our actual national dish right now, and I put a bowl of gumbo next to it, I think.
What is our national dish?
It's a hamburger.
Oh, okay.
You see how your faces are like, I love a good burger.
Right, but I can have gumbo over the hamburger. Indeed.
Right. I like a good smash burger, or a burger from a cookout.
Yeah.
But it's nothing like a bowl of gumbo. I watched people eat our gumbo in 110-degree weather in Sacramento.
Yeah.
That's how I knew we had something special, right?
Yeah.
So we're talking about all of the components. The dish, derives from Africa. It's a dish that, folks from New Orleans, folks from Louisiana really take the responsibility, in my opinion, of the dish. But it is essentially, when you had slaves and indentured service, folks that were Creole, that French Black mix. You had a group of people kind of melding together, and some of the things that happened there was music. If you go back to, if you go back and watch the Ken Burns series, he talks about some of the beginnings of jazz and how you had these different folks that may or may not know each other, or culturally different, but we start playing music together and celebrating together. And you look at Gumbo, it's really a mix of New World techniques, which is French technique. We're talking about things like, the gumbo has a roux. Most gumbos have a roux. And that's, the addition of a roux is a New World technique from France, right? It derives from one of the beginnings of a mother sauce, like a sauce espagnole or bechamel. So that roux, that flour fat mixture that thickens the gumbo, the okra, that's from Africa. And then now we start to get into the nitty gritty of it, the Holy Trinity. Well, the French derivative of that is mirepoix, celery, carrots, and onion. In the gumbo, there's no, in the Holy Trinity, there's no carrot. So the substitute for that is the bell pepper. And so you really start to bring all of these things together. And in my opinion, is more than just nourishment. It's more than just a dish. It's more than, every time I make a pot, and we're making 30, 40 gallons at a time.
Wow.
There's just something special about it every single time I make it. As I'm making it in my mind, I'm like, man, like, what could be more special than making this?
See, so you're making it with love. So that's the other thing that goes into it. And I know, reading about some of your background, one of the things that's really, really important to you, and you've actually learned how to do it, but then you've also made it your way. And that's the roux that you were just talking about. Because when you were trained, you had to keep making it as dark as it could possibly be, because that's what makes it so good, right?
Right. Yeah, that's your flavor base.
Yeah.
That's your flavor base, your roux, your flavor base. But then you have, I also think like we don't put enough energy into the Trinity or
Okay.
into the okra. We don't put
Okay.
enough energy into the sausage and sourcing the sausage. And so there's, in my opinion, it's just not us throwing a bunch of stuff together and watching it come to a boil. It's every kind of component matters in its own way. Even from, we source the spices locally from SF Herb Company.
Okay.
I don't really be telling people that where I get my herbs from, but they do a good job. They, the quality of herbs, dry herbs that we use is really high. We source the okra locally. Well, we have a grower in Fresno. This is about as local as we can get. There's some folks in Sacramento that do it, but okra loves warm weather. So,
Okay.
And then we try to use our connections at the farmers market to bring in the Holy Trinity with the celery, carrots, onion.
Yeah.
We try to support that market that we're at as much as we can by buying as much product as we can to support them.
Mm-hmm.
So every kind of component matters. When your question was about the roux, and in my opinion, the roux is kind of our base. And to me, there's something special that happens when you introduce butter. And folks that are from New Orleans, they, they're kind of 50-50 on me on this one. I like to cause a little bit of controversy, but there's a reason. So when we cook, there's a reason why we do something. So there's never like a random, like, oh, we just do it in there because it tastes good. No, there's a reason. The reason why we add butter is because when the butter cooks down, the milk solids start to caramelize, and it starts to add a really kind of a nutty, not a brown butter flavor, but this kind of nutty caramelized flavor into the roux. In my opinion, the 50-50 mix is the thing that kind of helps our roux stand out a little bit.
Okay. Well, I'd like to congratulate you on Bon Appetit's recent naming of Gumbo Social as one of the most anticipated restaurants opening in 2023. You must be excited about the opening. So tell me about that, because it's going to be opening in the Bayview, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, talk to me.
I told myself, there's a saying, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere.
Okay.
If you can make it in the Bayview,
Yeah.
you can make it anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. That's going to be awesome.
I told myself years ago I would never open a restaurant in the Bayview. And I had to really reflect on that. I think that maybe came from me being in a place for a long time and how I maybe saw my community. What I didn't realize when I was young, I didn't realize that there were Black professionals, folks like yourself and your husband who are great stewards of the community. I didn't realize how much history our community had in regards to activism and just creating a stakeholder in the place for our people to be. And so when I had this opportunity, the first thing I had to think about was, could this work? And just based off the math, I think it can. The other piece is like, do we have enough momentum to carry a restaurant? And then the third piece is like, what's our actual concept outside of the farmers market? And so I think with those three things, I felt confident enough. I say, okay, let's, the opportunity's here. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. And
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm excited and nervous at the same time because, I want to be successful. I want this brand and this idea to be successful. I want the community to have something that they feel like they have ownership in. I also understand, what that comes with, right? Like, we're going to have to work really hard to make this place happen. And so, I'm hoping that folks can be patient with us as we get ready to get open and get launched. And there's going to be some growing pains, but I'm excited for the opportunity just to serve people.
Yeah, oh, it's going to be awesome. I think you're going to be surprised. I think you're going to surprise yourself. So tell me, what is the mission of Gumbo Social? And what is Gumbo Social?
Yeah. Our when we first started, my mission was to bring people together and have conversations. That mission has changed to making gumbo America's national dish.
Okay.
So our mission's changed a bit. The social component is our gumbo, I love to talk. I love to talk. I love to have conversation. I think things can get done over food. When we look at, there was a great picture of President Obama in a diner, and I'm gonna use a word from the young people. It's giving, Dr. Martin Luther King, when he's, fighting for justice and sitting down across from Jesse Jackson, and just this iconic picture that has, it's President Obama at Dookie Chase in New Orleans, sitting down, or Willie Mays having food and talking and building community in that way. And so I think that, the social component, I think that we can get stuff done over food.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so when is the opening going to take place?
Yeah, so we're targeted to open late April. We don't have an exact date yet. We're still kind of getting some stuff done inside of the building, some improvements. But our goal and mission is to get open late April. Anything past May 1 would be a failure in my eyes. But I've also learned how to allow the things that I can't control exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're pushing for late April. Reality will probably be May 1, but really pushing to have our at their minimum start doing maybe some to-goes or soft opening late April.
Okay. So now we're going to switch gears a little bit because I would like for you to name 3 people that have inspired you. And I know it's probably more, but I just want 3. And you've already said one, Mr. Ramos, your teacher, unless you want to leave him off and put someone else in his place.
Now, Mr. Ramos, he's, that guy is the GOAT. That's someone who saw the potential in me and took the time, money, effort, resources to invest. And the investment that he made is paying off today. It's yielded tenfold.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I would say Ruben Smith, Smitty. He was the director of the Boys and Girls Club, Hunters Point Boys and Girls Club, many years ago. He passed probably about 9 years ago at this point. But Smitty was known throughout the community, often mistaken for Willie Brown. But one thing I can really appreciate about Smitty is that he gave a group of young people opportunity. So my first job was at the Boys and Girls Club. Okay. And I didn't realize how impactful that was going to be until I got older. I always had something to put on my resume. I always had a place to go to get support for something. The doors to the Boys and Girls Club was always open. And Smitty was really good about reminding us where the funds came from for the work that we did. And so, I always, when I met Willie Brown as an adult, I thanked him. I was like, you may or may not remember this, but your office afforded the funds for 6 of us teenagers to have employment. And that employment probably saved our lives.
That's beautiful. That's awesome.
So that, things like that. And Smitty's has always been a leader, a little tough on us at times, but someone that, I'm going to always remember and well respected. My first time traveling outside of the state was, going to Disney World for the 75th anniversary. And that was through the Boys and Girls Club.
Oh, fun. What a place to go to, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to Disneyland.
Beautiful. And Disney World. So we were in Florida.
In Florida. Okay. Yeah. Disney World. And that place is huge.
Yeah. So I
can never see all of it.
Amazing opportunity, right? For, someone growing up in Hunters Point to be able to travel across the country and be on the plane for the first time. And that was phenomenal.
It's a memorable moment.
For sure.
For sure. Yeah.
And then, my mother, just someone who, who's always believed in my ability and my dream and what my goals were. And someone that's, has always been supportive. Someone that, reminds me of the level of greatness that I have, and someone who is just constantly there. And she, I remember us raising funds to get to France, and she's just showing up. I don't know a time when she doesn't show up.
Yeah.
So definitely inspirational. Also, I think my work ethic and my ability to persevere and work hard, a lot of that comes from her. Me watching her, get up early, the idea of getting up early, showing up early, leaving late, showing on time, being the person of your word. A lot of that really comes from the core values, really come from her. So
key things. That's what we teach these young people. Your word is your bond, right?
Yeah. Very important.
Now, yes. So what would the 9-year-old Dontaye say to the grown man Dontaye today?
That's a good question. What would the little me say to me? You're my superhero. You're amazing. You know, yeah. Now, take me with you. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
wonderful indeed. So, Mr. Gumbo, as we begin to close the show, would you like to leave the audience with some parting words and remind them about, again, the Gumbo Social opening, which will take place maybe late April, early May,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I'm not good at promoting myself. And so I always say, look, our food speaks for itself. I want you to be wowed with the service. And that is our goal, right? Our goal is to serve you at a high level. You come in with a bad attitude, our goal is to make you smile at the end of it. And so that's one of the key things that we want to do. But if folks are ready to be a part of the social family, I would encourage them to jump on social media. That's the best place to find us. We're Gumbo Social on all platforms: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. And yeah, jump on there and become a part of the social family. And then hit our website. You can get on our email list, which is really the best kept secret right now. That's where you're going to get your 10% off, your 20% off, VIP club, right? That's the secret to success.
I'm in.
Right. Right. So that's an easy one. And then we're at the Outer Sunset Farmers Market from 9 to 2 most Sundays. I say most. I used to say every Sunday, but the rain lately has kept us out of a few markets. It's so difficult to cook.
I know with this,
in the rain and wind.
Yeah.
And so those are the places to find us. And then we're going to be opening a restaurant on 3rd Street, 5176 3rd, the former Frisco Fried location. And shout out to Marcel Banks for allowing us the opportunity to come in and elevate the space, really add on to the work that he's done. He's been serving the community for over 15 years. And so we're looking to really add to what Frisco Fried did to really bolster our community.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Marsha Pendergrass and I were planning to get together, and she was like in April, and she says, I don't know if his restaurant will be open by then. I said, well, you know what? We're going to drive by to see. So just be waiting. We're coming, right?
Yep.
All right. All right.
Well, we're gonna bring up. My goal is to bring a second line band down 3rd Street. We're gonna stop traffic for about 10 minutes and bring a second line band down 3rd Street and really just bring. We want to bring some energy and some excitement, some fun, some great food, some great music, some great service to Bayview, and really just we're gonna take this little 1,000 square feet we got and get funky with it.
Now, will you only serve gumbo, or will you have other items?
Yeah, we'll have other items. So we're gonna start off with 3 different types of gumbo. So our concept's a gumbo bar.
Okay.
So the idea is that your husband has a shellfish allergy, no problem. We have are you doesn't eat pork? We got them. Smoked turkey gumbo for our non-pork eaters. We have our traditional chicken and sausage gumbo, which is really the base. And then we have our vegan gumbo for folks who may not want any animal protein.
Okay.
From there, you can order add-ons. You can add things onto your gumbo. So
okay.
You'll see things like slow roasted pork shank, smoked pork belly, roasted duck, smoked turkey. We can put shrimp in just about anything.
Yeah.
Crab, like every day the add-ons will kind of change based on availability.
Okay.
And then we'll expand our po' boy menu. I always tell people po' boy, the meaning of po' boy for us, we don't do a traditional po' boy. Po' boy for us equals sandwich. So when you hear po' boy, think outside the box. That's sandwich. That equals sandwich for us. So I think a good place, a good fast casual place should always have a good sandwich. So our shrimp po' boy is legendary. We have a pork po' boy, roasted pork, which is delicious. Smoked chicken po' boy, roasted jackfruit po' boy, which is vegan. We have quite a few vegan items for
Okay.
folks.
What about dessert? Any desserts?
Yeah. So we're working on desserts. We're working on desserts right now. We're partnering with a few folks, but I don't know if those are going to come through. But I think we're going to start just really basic chef type desserts. So
Okay.
working on a little buttermilk cake recipe and a couple of little things here and there. But I think we keep it pretty basic to start. That way we can kind of expand it out a little bit more later.
Sure.
Yeah.
I am excited. I cannot wait. I
Yeah.
can taste it. And I know it's going to be lines. I can just see the lines already.
Right.
I can see the lines already, and people like, so do you need to make reservations? Will that help?
Yeah. So it's first come, first serve.
Okay.
Folks come on in and hang out. And one of the issues we have in the Bayview is parking. So it'll make it a little bit tough, but we'll see. We'll give it the first kind of month to see kind of how things flow.
Okay.
I'm imagining we'll have a good amount of to-go service and dine in. I think we'll be around 40 seats. So,
Okay.
so yeah, we'll see how that looks. One of the key things, and my mom thought it important that we add this. We'll have a kind of a grab and go code case, and so if
Oh,
you
okay.
just wanted to pop in and get a quart of gumbo to go and take it home and warm it up, you can do it there. So we'll have our red beans and rice. We'll have our California greens. We'll have our gumbo. We'll have all the different gumbos. And if you just want to pop in and grab some, just take home gumbo, you could do it there. We're also looking to maybe add a few of our friends in, like folks like Gourmet would like to carry some of their products. And so be another opportunity for people that we know and love to put some stuff in our case to kind of help them with their business as well.
That is so awesome. I am so excited. Well, Chef Dontaye, I would like to thank you for taking out time to be on Straight Talking with Kelly, where real conversations happening. To my listening audience, thank you for joining us. Please find me on my YouTube channel, Straight Talking with Kelly. Like, subscribe, and come back. See you soon.